Today we have a very exciting subject for you, one which everyone's asking about. Today we're going to be talking about annual house taxes. Well, hardly exciting, but everyone wants to know about it. So let's get on with it. Basically, in France, there are three annual house taxes. One is the homeowners tax. The second one is the second homeowners tax. And the third one is the rubbish collection tax. To start with, before we actually talk about those three taxes, you need to know that all these taxes are based on what they call the valeur locative cadastrale. Cadastre being the actual land registry office, which attributes a rental value to your property. Don't ask me how they calculate it exactly, but I know they do take into account the village services, for example, street lighting, mains drainage, etc. But also it can take into account the actual local market values on real estate. But also, in a positive way, if a commune is receiving a lot of taxes from industrial units in its commune, then in general, the actual housing taxes are a lot lower. So the first one is what we call the redevance des ordures ménagères, or basically rubbish collection and treatment tax. Officially speaking, this is actually based on half of your cadastral rental value. But to be honest, that's hardly ever used due to the fact that if you're one person living in a massive house, why should you pay more than, say, five people living in a small two-room flat? So although I do believe all that is charged to the communes then actually sort out their own pricing. And this is usually done on a per capita system. This can vary greatly, though, from communes. I think generally what they do is actually they calculate how much it's going to cost them to take care of the waste removal and then divide it by the number of inhabitants in the commune. So basically, per capita, you can go anywhere from €100 per head up to about 225, 250 euros per head per annum. So basically, if there's two of you in a house, then you might be thinking about 200 to 250 euros per annum, with a higher end possibly up about 500-600 euros per annum. Like I said, it varies greatly from commune to commune. In fact, the most expensive place for rubbish removal is in the town of Marseille, which, if you don't know, makes a lot of French laugh due to the fact Marseille is renowned for its rubbish collection strikes, where the actual rubbish builds up in the streets over several weeks quite often. Usually at least once a year they go on strike asking for more money. So there you go. Most expensive city for rubbish collection is the one where you've probably got the worst service. The next tax is what we call the taxe d'habitation, or what we used to call the taxe d'habitation. It's now the taxe d'habitation de résidence secondaire. Due to the fact until recently this was charged to everyone, and now it is only charged to those of us lucky enough to actually have a second home. This is actually calculated by a percentage of the actual commune charges of the cadastral rental value, and can vary once again greatly from commune to commune. Admittedly, there's actually limits on the percentage they can actually charge. Saying that now, in areas where, for example, Airbnb has exploded and there's a lack of housing, they've now actually slackened up those limits. So quite often on coastal towns, you'll find the actual second home tax is a lot higher than it was before. I'm talking quite a bit higher. To give you an idea, the average, and very much the average second home tax in France is usually about €772 for a house and 941 for a flat. That might sound weird in a way, but take into account these are actually calculated on the real average of all the houses, second homes, what's being paid. So basically, flats tend to be in towns. Towns have more services, so taxes are more expensive. Whereas houses, yes, there are in towns, but there's also plenty in the countryside. There's a lot less services. The other one, tax, is the homeowners tax, or what the French call the taxe foncière. This is charged to anyone who owns a house in France. Admittedly, since they abolished the actual taxe habitation, that tax is going up slightly, but it's nothing major yet. It's worst case scenario, about 10% per annum. Once again, this is based on cadastral rental value. And this time, though, there's actually, let's say, there's more people wanting a slice of the cake. Whereas on the tax on second homes, it was very much the commune and the region. Now, on the tax foncière, you actually have the commune, the district, the department, the region, and a little bit for the state as well. And all that does add up. But how much does all that cost? I hear you cry. Well, as it happens, while I was actually writing this video, kind of writing it, I don't really write them completely. While I was writing my bullet points for this video, let's say, a report came out with the averages by department on house taxes. Once again, these are averages. It's not actually per type of house or per type of flat. It's basically they're taking all the houses in the department, totaled the actual taxes and divided it by the number of houses to get back the average. Well, the most expensive department in France is not surprisingly in the Ile-de-France where Paris is situated. But actually, it's not Paris itself. It's actually the Seine-Saint-Denis, which is literally next door to the centre of Paris. But it's actually I wouldn't say poshest place in Paris, but it's quite a posh place all the same. In fact, all 8 departments of the Ile-de-France are the most expensive departments in the whole of France, ranging from €2,400 up to €3,500 per annum, but with an average of 2,655 in general. The cheapest region in France is actually Brittany, all 4 counties of it. Very similar rates in all counties, averaging out at €1,240 per annum. And the second cheapest is the Pays de Loire, averaging out at 1,370. When it comes to the actual individual departments, as opposed to the regions, I mentioned the Seine-Saint-Denis earlier being the most expensive, but where is the cheapest? I would have thought it would have been the Creuse department in the centre of France, because that is pretty well the cheapest department in France for most things, including houses. But actually, no, it's only a very close second. The cheapest department in France for taxe foncière is, in fact, the Vendée department, which with an average of €990 per annum. But don't forget, these are very much averages. Depending on where you are in the actual department, if you're actually in the town, if you're on the outskirts of town, if you're a few miles out from town, or if you're out in the sticks, the actual amount will change greatly. So in some cases, in very rural areas, you'll actually have a house tax of probably about €400 per annum, whereas in the towns, you could be paying as much as €3,000, €4,000, €5,000 per annum. But these are the official averages, and I hope it gives you an idea. Knowing that most of you are looking at rural properties, if you aim, let's say, between €400 and €1,000 per annum in taxe foncière, about, if you're a family, or a normal family, well, what is a normal family these days? A family of 4, let's say, then I'd say think about €400 to €600 per annum in a waste disposal. And if you're living here permanently, well, then obviously it's not a second home. But if it is, probably around the €600,000 to €700,000 mark in taxes. So that brings us up to a quick total, if I remember what the figures I've just given you, probably about somewhere between €2,000 and €2,500 per annum to accumulate all those taxes together. Well, hope this helps give you an idea. As always, if you like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that bell. And if you want to, you can buy me a coffee with the QR code on the screen, and I'll be back soon with another one. Bye.